You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is Breaking the Ice. Everybody, we don't have much of a crew right now going on, but guess what, everybody? We got AJ Chasan over on mic 3, and we got Nem Hilal on mic 2. Nem, how's it going?
It's going pretty swell. How are you today, Connor?
You doing pretty swell? AJ, how are you doing?
How we doing? We're doing all right. I mean, it could be better, could be worse, but we'll go into it later. Breaking the streets in the championship.
First off, I just want to say one thing. Now that everybody's here right now, I want to say just one thing. I want everyone to come to the mic close and say this with me. Boston Bruins. Ready, everybody? What happened? I wish Justin was here for that, honestly, but we don't have him here right now. So we're just going to give them a nice little... Yeah! The headphones are on delays right now, so honestly, just lower them down. They're useless right now. They're literally all on a delay. I don't know why that is, but they be on a delay. So we're here on Breaking the Ice with Breaking the Street coming later. Let's take a guess. So how late will Daniel be today?
Oh. I mean, he said he parked like 5. He said he parked like 5 minutes ago, so he should be here like in the next couple minutes.
I understand. So I wonder when. Let's play some bets. Let's place bets. I'm gonna go with 303.
We'll go with 306.
Oh, okay.
We going with
now?
now.
What do you think here?
303.46.
303.46.
Wow, we're going technicals.
She's
okay.
going down to the seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we
So
prices writing this, or are we
just?
just?
I guess we're prices right in this. So we'll see which number is the closest to. I got 1 minute now, so I guess I'm already. Oops, I messed up there. But Boston Bruins, you had the record-breaking season: 65 wins, 17 losses. You went crazy at the deadline, and you know why? Because you did it for 3 playoff wins. Am I right, guys?
I guess so. I mean,
Am I right?
you load up and commit the greatest single-season failure in NHL history.
I legitimately think it's the biggest upset in playoff history in the National Hockey League.
It is. They were the greatest regular season team of all time. They
And
were
the
up 3.
Cats-
Yeah, they were up 3-1 in the series, and they just imploded.
And the Cats are just, a 42-win team. 42-40 on the regular season. Nothing crazy, but they clicked at the right time. And, it was an unreal series. Like, Game 5, they're down 3-1 in the series already at this point, and they go to overtime. Matthew Tkachuk wins it. Cool. Game 6, keep in mind, they're up 4-3. And then, of all players, Zach Dalpe ties the game. Zach Dalpe, the guy who was only playing because Ryan Lomberg was injured. This is the guy that doesn't even crack the lineup. He scores the game-tying goal. Then the Cats get a power play, completely screw it up, turnover, Bruins get a goal, right? So then, on that very same power play, though, Matthew Tkachuk, the god himself, just bought his jersey off of DH Gate this morning, because I had to. I literally had to. He scores a power play goal, just shoves 2 right at Linus Ullmark, I believe, was playing that game. Shoves 2 at him, gets the second one, his own rebound, goes into the net. And then at one of my favorite Cats, the next goal.
And both of y'all's time has expired.
Oh.
Okay, so
Come on, 306.
Daniel, it's now 3:04. Let's see when he arrives.
Hey, it's 303. Look at the clock. It's not 304 until about now.
Well, Nem can still technically be right. If he comes right now, I believe you'll be correct once it hits like...
Not Price is Right. You can't go over.
Man, all right. So
That's why I asked if we were Price is Right in this.
Well, what if it's past that? What if it's past 3:06?
Well, then we're both... Then we all lose.
Everyone washes?
Yeah, it's a wash. We all lose.
All right, well, now we're rooting for that, okay? All right, Sanem? Oh my God.
Yeah!
As he legitimately
AJ is the
walks
winner!
in the door,
AJ's the
everybody,
winner!
Devils Report is here at 3:04:37. So we're going to give him a nice Kool-Aid Man entrance. Yeah, Daniel, the headphones are useless today, so don't even worry about them. They're on a delay. But it's okay. You're here. How does it feel to, well, I see your hat right now, but we can't say it on air. But, it's still a great day. It must be a great day to be Daniel Amoia.
I'd say it's a pretty good day, especially with breaking the streets. Great victory last night, ready to take on Pike in the final.
So, we're talking about the Bruins and the Cats right now. We hit a Boston Bruins What Happened together. So if you want to get in on the fun, you can hit one yourself. if you feel like it, of course.
I'll do it. Boston Bruins, what happened? It's a great day to be Connor Cupen, isn't it?
Dude, it is legitimately it's a perfect day in the hockey world for me because we were just talking about Game 6, 5-5. Eetu Loisterinen scored the game-winning goal in that game. Like, homegrown talent, and he drops the game winner in Game 6. Reinhart scored an empty netter from his own half off the board, which was sick also. But Game 7, I'm watching, and at the same time hanging out with friends, so, it's like you're trying to pay attention as much as you can. They go up 2-0. Then Boston drops 3 goals, and now I'm in a restaurant watching it on my phone because I can't not watch. You know what I mean? Like, you can't not watch. No matter where you guys were in Game 7, I'm sure you were watching a game.
Mm-hmm.
Nem, where were you for Game 7?
Formal.
Exactly. She's at Formal, and guess what? She told them to turn the TVs on.
Absolutely.
Because how big of a moment, how much did this mean to you guys? Your Game 7, Devils-Rangers.
A lot. I mean, it was 11 years since the Devils won a
Where were
playoff
you watching
series.
the game?
I was watching from my living room couch.
You made sure to make no plans that day.
I had an opportunity to go to the game, but I gave 2 of my tickets to Justin because it was very last minute, and I didn't want to scramble. It wasn't that big of a deal because I probably would have passed out by the second period if I was there. So I was perfectly content with watching it from my living room couch with everyone.
Yeah.
And it was a good time.
Cats Game 7, though, like, I'm at this restaurant, and it's 3-2, and it's the final minute. So your season's on the line for a minute. They go empty net, and let me just tell you, Brandon Montour was traded for a third-round pick back in 2021, okay? And Bill Zito is a god. Legitimate, give him a bing bong for that one.
Bing bong.
Because that's a GM. That's a GM. That man, Brandon Montour, drops his second goal of the game. He had 2 goals in that game. He just ropes that one into the net. 59 seconds left. They kill off the rest of the play. In overtime, they killed it. They dominated. They dominated 5-on-5 play. And then Carter Verhaeghe just scores. I don't know how he found the back of Swayman, but he just did it. He just finds the back of the net. And you can see Patrice Bergeron crying because...
I feel bad for him.
I feel bad for him, but only him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, me too. Only him. Only Bergeron.
I mean, yeah, it's almost the end of his career.
Yeah.
It could be the
It
end of his
probably
career.
is.
Yeah, like, and that's.
And this is their best. I believe he's not a Stanley Cup champion, right?
No, he is.
No,
He
he
is?
is.
Okay,
He's a
okay.
Stanley Cup champion.
Yeah.
They won 11.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't, oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
just
boy.
honestly, the 6-on-5 when the Bruins were up 3-2 was the hardest I've ever rooted for a team that's not the Devils.
Yeah, dude.
I mean,
that's 6-on-5 because
when they pulled Bobrovsky, like, I was so locked in. Like, I genuinely, like,
Oh,
celebrated
man,
so hard
dude.
when they scored. Like,
They-
we were all praying on Boston's downfall.
dude, legitimately, and Montour scored that goal, dude. It was the greatest thing ever. I want to just highlight some of Bill Zito's trades over the past 2 years because, like, he has built this team from his own negotiations. Montour was a third-rounder. W. Especially with what he's become now, W. He had a 73-point season. They traded Sam Reinhart. That was a first in Devin Levi. So, it's not as much of a fleece, but he's done work. Reinhart is a top 5 player on this team.
Yeah.
Sam Bennett was a second-round pick and a player I can't even remember right now. And he's done work too. And then it came the Kachuk trade. So the Kachuk trade, like, when it happened, right?
That was the biggest 180 I've seen from the general public on a trade. Everyone was like, "What are the Panthers doing?" And now it's turned to, "Wow, what a fleece by the Panthers."
What are the Flames
Yeah.
doing?
And when
bro?
you look back on it, it's like, what did the Panthers do in that trade? They got younger and they got faster. Like,
Yeah, quite
what is
literally.
today? What is the theme of this year's NHL? Young and speed.
Yeah.
Like,
makes that trade worth it is honestly the fact that Montour became what he is because that was like what Uyghur was supposed to be. Except Uyghur didn't score like that at all. Uyghur was just a defensive defenseman. And now Montour does both. So he's legitimately taken over and he's like these trades by Zito, it was Huberdeau, Uyghur, Schwint, and a first. So it was a lot for Kachuk. But now Kachuk's on an 8-year contract and I just bought his jersey off DHgate this morning, Daniel. I was telling him earlier because I had to, bro. Like I usually don't do that, but like look at him. Look at him.
I mean, for $30, why not?
Yeah, it was 37 actually. So
Excuse me,
7
Connor.
weeks to get here, but you know that's beside the point. That's beside the point because DHgate is DHgate. But this series was the greatest series of my life. I think so. Like, I've only seen the Cats win one other playoff series, and this was the other one. They went 1-0, up 1-0 on the Leafs already, which I think they could genuinely win that series too. I cannot believe they have gone farther than they did last year.
That's what I was
that
just going to say to you.
blows my mind. I thought about that this morning. I'm like, hold on. I have to apologize. I said they wouldn't even make the playoffs earlier on this show this season. I'm so wrong. They did even better than last year's team. You know who takes out President's Trophy winners? President's Trophy winners. That's exactly what happens here.
Well, this year's team, I can tell you right now, is better than last year's team. Why? It's younger, it's faster, and it's more tactically refined.
I think
that's
they
why.
just have the best player out of both teams. Like, if I compare, I mean, honestly, Huberdeau's season last year versus Kachuk's season this year, regular
Kachuk
season-wise,
all day.
Huberdeau's season, for sure, actually, but playoffs-wise.
But I feel like Huberdeau is like all assists. That's the thing. He doesn't score like Kachuk does.
Playoff-wise, though, Kachuk
Kachuk
has gone crazy these playoffs. Huberdeau didn't show up last
Well,
playoffs.
he's
That's
a
the big
dog.
difference.
Well, last year Huberdeau was also playing on a line with another player who dropped 100 points.
I hear what you're saying.
So the points are just going to be there. They're going to be there if that line's producing at like a 250, 300-point clip.
Jonathan Huberdeau, Mickey Mouse, 100 points.
Mickey Mouse,
season last
100
year.
points. I believe he could do it again, just not with Calgary, though.
I don't think he could do it. I think
No.
Did
Did
he
he
even get 40
completely
this
exposed.
year? Like, what did he end up with? Let's see.
If Jonathan
I
Huberdeau's
think
ever
Eric Halla had more points
You're-
than him.
if Jonathan Huberdeau's ever a point per game player in the NHL again, I'll be shocked.
Let's see how
Yeah,
many
I agree.
points
Shocked.
Huberdeau had this season. Jonathan Huberdeau, who got himself 55. Okay. Like, he had 15 goals.
15 goals.
Yeah, last year he was crazy. I think he had 100 assists last. I know there's no way he had 100 assists last year. That's not true. But
He had
like
30 goals, 85 assists.
last year. Wow.
Yeah.
So he legitimately doubled his production.
So
Yeah,
even in his 115-point season, Nico Hischier had more goals than him this year. Like, no shade to Nico, but he's not a 100-point player.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
A lot of Mickey Mouse assists there.
A lot of Mickey Mouse assists, but so I want to highlight one more thing now as we continue to talk about this series because I'm on cloud. The 3-1 comeback, everything's there. Greatest upset in NHL history, everything's there. I had them in 7 on my bracket. How did you guys? I'm sure everyone else had Bruins. I'm sure literally everyone in this room
I had Bruins, but I had them in 7.
I know someone in this room had the Bruins win the entire thing.
Was that Nem? Nem and Campbell both had the Bruins winning the whole thing. I'm
That
90% sure.
that series was just the start of the downfall of my bracket.
Mine is great. I have 6 of the 8 teams, and I got 4 of them in the exact game. So I'm not. My bracket is.
Well,
great
half
so
my
far.
bracket's correct.
AJ got every team in the West correct, and then every team in the East incorrect.
Yep.
We were here. No, go ahead.
That's exactly how my bracket was last year, though.
West and East like that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
We were here last Wednesday, and AJ came in and said, "Cats elimination day."
no, it was Campbell said that.
Campbell
and
said
that was
it? Okay,
Game
my bad.
5, man.
I
That
was
was
saying,
Game 5.
I wasn't here last
wasn't
week.
even here.
Okay, my bad. My
Nah,
bad.
Campbell shook my hand the day after Game 7.
Cats elimination day, and Connor's like, "Nah, it's not happening." And
Hey,
And it didn't
wasn't
happen.
wrong.
So-
It did not happen.
I want to tell you guys one more thing. We're gonna shout out. So, do you guys follow Puck Empire on Instagram?
I do.
So Puck Empire, he loves to do series awards for every series. So I'm going to go through the ones as we go by, and we're going to see how our own thoughts. So as far as the Florida-Boston series goes, he had Boston in 6, but obviously it's Cats in 7. He said the series MVP himself, Matthew Tkachuk. 11 points in the 7 games with 5 goals. Honestly, I'm down for it. I feel like it's well-deserved. He legit scored the game-winning goal in Game 5, had key plays. Even when he's not getting an assist, he literally does everything. Like, in Game 7, he took a shot. He made a nice move, took a shot, and that's how Nick Cousins scored off his redirection. So, like, he even set that up himself. How do you guys feel about Tkachuk being the series MVP?
Matthew Tkachuk is if, like, Jack Hughes grew Timo Meyer's size and physicality, which is just scary. And, I mean, he's literally everything you want in a National Hockey League player in one. I don't like him because of the Devils-Panthers series.
Yeah, I
he
hear
kept
you.
taking runs at Nico. But taking my Devils bias aside, I would do anything for Tkachuk to be a Devil. I mean,
I hear what you're saying.
he scores goals. He has plenty of assists. He plays physical
Leads the
with
league
an
and
edge.
he top 5 in penalty minutes.
Yeah, he gets under their skin. I mean, he's just a complete player. So he totally deserves series MVP. He, not to say he put the Panthers on his back, but if he wasn't on the Panthers, you guys aren't winning that series.
Probably the case.
So, respect to him. He played an insane series. And that's why Bruins, best regular season team of all time,
That's all it is. The
are
best regular
now
season
at
team of all
Top
time.
Golf with each other. So,
So, the finals Lundqvist Award, which is the best player on the losing team, according to Puck Empire, Tyler Bertuzzi.
I agree with that.
5 goals, 10 points, with
Yeah.
only 17 minutes of ice time per game, and he was crazy, bro. Bertuzzi was absolutely correct. He scored he got assisted on the first goal in the whole series to Pasternak. It was a sick play. Good trade by them, but can they lock him up?
Yeah, I can tell you guys what's not happening.
Hmm.
Him resigning in Boston.
Oh.
their cap situation
No
is a
way.
mess.
No way. Hold on. You don't even have a single team in your Stanley Cup final? That's crazy.
What's the deal? What's the deal?
Yikes.
Both of Nem's final teams are out.
are out
Yeah.
bouncing the
What
first
were they?
round.
Bruins and what? Bruins and what?
Avs.
Oh, the Avs were my biggest loss. I had them winning 2 series.
I had the Kraken, baby. Let's
Alright.
go.
I think I got two teams in the entire bracket.
do
you
you
got
have
the Rangers?
Hold on. Do you have any teams still alive in this round?
Yeah, she picked Rangers in 7. Oh my
Aw.
god. What a Devs fan.
Okay, like realistically, yes. Like obviously, I wanted the Devils to win, but like realistically thinking, I thought the Rangers would take
Well,
it.
realistically thinking, you were wrong. Let's boo her right now.
You know what? I deserve that. I deserve it.
Daniel, how do you feel about you picked the Rangers in 7?
I mean, that's hurtful a little to see our fellow fans doubting us. Like, it's one thing if it's people around the league, like Keith Yandel. The New Jersey Devils aren't even going to make the playoffs this season. That was the worst take I've ever seen. AJ probably said that at one point too, honestly, but
Here's my thing. I never thought I would ever do this, defend them. But as the person who is the absolute like chairman of the hater bet, has been the entire year, I don't think you could say it's hurtful that Nem picked the Rangers in 7 in a bracket in a breaking the ice radio show
Okay.
bracket challenge.
Here's the thing.
I don't think you could do that.
I understand where the logic is. The Rangers were the more experienced team. They have a lot of star power. However,
You trademarked the hater bet.
I just
You trademarked the hater bet. The hater bet is your thing. Everything with
I can't
I can
argue it.
guarantee you every single week during the regular season that he was on this show.
Slamming Penn's
He did.
Devils,
He
bro.
did. I was like, he did. He said at one point in those shows, "hater bet," the 2 words, guaranteed.
So I want to bring it
And
back.
you're ripping on someone for picking what's it
I'm
called, the
not
opposite
I just
team.
said I understand where the logic is.
You're like, oh, it's hurtful.
All right, boys. Back to this one. The Ghost Award of the series, according to Puck Empire, Linus Ullmark, for slashing an .896 save percentage.
He was horrible.
Yeah.
He was horrible.
He did give up
Yeah.
7 goals in Game 6. He didn't even play Game 7. Which, come on, if you're supposed to be the Vezina winner, you're out there for Game 7, right? Them putting in Swayman says a lot.
They had to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I had
he
to.
the inverse Conn Smythe Award goes to Linus Ullmark. And the Spotlight Award for the best individual game in the series, Brandon Montour's Game 7. Scored the first goal and the last goal of regulation. The goal that saved the season. I agree. Like, he was incredible, and he fully saved the season.
I just want to say, I think that's the best part of playoffs in general. Watching players who are fairly minuscule doing something
Everything?
in the biggest moment. I mean, we've seen it all around the league. Look at Seattle series versus Colorado. Ty Cartier in his NHL debut, scoring a huge goal, completely turning around that series. I mean,
look who scored one game. What's that? Who scored the first goal in Game 7 for the Devils?
I didn't want to bring up the Devils, but
We'll get to them next.
I
We'll get to them next.
appreciate you
You're
bringing that
welcome.
up. That was my entire point, but I was going to be nice and not bring up the Devils. Yeah, Mikey McLeod, I don't even remember the last time he scored a goal. Scoring one of the biggest goals in Devils franchise history. Even we go
That's one
back
of your biggest
about a
goals ever.
decade, the Kings and Rangers in the final. Alec Martinez scoring the game-winning goal to win the Stanley
Hey.
Cup in overtime.
It happens, bro.
It's
It
just the
happens.
beauty of playoff hockey. The regular season goes out the window. You don't get any extra credit
Dude,
for being
I
a
brought this up,
110-point
legitimately.
scorer.
I brought this up in game. Was it Game 7 or Game 6? Game 6. Bruins are up 4-3, and the guy who ties the game for Florida is literally Zach Dalpe.
Yeah,
The guy who doesn't
exactly.
even get.
Journeyman.
He doesn't even get. No, he doesn't even like crack the lineup. He was only in there because Lomberg was hurt.
Yeah,
It happens, man.
Bouncing between the AHL and NHL. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing. When it matters, I'll go back to the Devils now.
I'll talk about the whole series.
Game 7 goals. Michael McLeod 1. Entire Rangers team 0.
Hey.
I mean, playoff hockey is a beautiful thing. It could be the worst of things too, but it's a great thing.
So one last award here, the Pat Maroon Award. This is the most carried player on the winning team award, and for Florida, Aaron Ekblad gets this with 0 points on the series. 0 points in average defense. Aaron Ekblad, but he already had a point last night, so he's making up for it. So now we're going to move on to the series that we all wanted. We want the Devils-Rangers talk. Let's get to it. So, now let's go right into Devils-Rangers. So first off, let's talk about the series itself. Everybody, they did it. You both said, well, whoever was here last week, whoever wins Game 5 wins the whole thing. And it went exactly like that. Daniel, talk to me about your experience watching this whole series play out. And Nem, yourself too, at formal watching Game 7. And AJ, what's it like watching them win a playoff series?
I'll let Nem kick it off because I just talked a little bit about the Devils. So,
I mean, like, the start of the series definitely was not. It was scary. It was a little scary, I will admit. The start of the series is kind of what I imagined when I picked the Rangers in 7. And then the Devils really came back in Games 3 and 4. Honestly, it was I always knew it was going to be a really close series. I'm just really happy with how it turned out, obviously. I mean.
Yeah, I'm just waiting here until AJ gets to say nice things about the Devils.
Hey,
I don't think I've ever
he's been
heard
waiting the whole year for this.
I've really been waiting for this moment. Like, it's funny. The Devils series ends, and the only beef I have with anyone is from a Penguins fan. Like, all the Rangers fans here, I'm cool with. Like, I'm not going to trash on them. They lost. It was a good series. But on the other hand, the guy who hated on the Devils this whole series 10 times more than all the Rangers fans here combined. How does it feel, AJ?
All right, let's be frank. As much as I had hated on the Devils the entire year, and I still will do. Let's go Hurricanes, by the way. Oh. Let's go Hurricanes, by the way. We're going to keep it moving. But as much as I hated on this series, either way, the result of the series was going to be an L, no matter what. The Rangers, who knocked the Penguins out of the playoffs last year in an embarrassing 3-1. I'm not going to get into that. And the Devils, which has the most disgusting, nauseating fans in the league. Terrible.
You are so extremely biased.
Terrible. Their fans, awful. Neither here nor there. The Devils, man, they played unbelievable in this series. Akira Schmid absolutely turned it around. And as I look through with the remaining teams in the bracket, East and West,
Los Gatos to the crib, bro.
I can't believe I'm going to say this. The Devils are the best team remaining in the playoffs.
Oh, hold on. We need like 17 sound effects.
That's going on the Instagram.
Oh, yeah. Let's just play every sound effect we have. All right, they're all done now.
They're the best team remaining in the playoffs. They're the fastest team in the playoffs. Right now, I think they have the hottest goaltending in the playoffs. I think their coach is on the money right now in the playoffs. I know me and you had a little bit of back and forth in the group chat about it, but hey, it works out. I think they're the most disciplined team in the playoffs right now. I think the only team that could...
I disagree with that. They were in the box a lot during that series.
It's chippy. It's the first period of a Game 7. I mean, both teams were really taking penalties in that game.
I guess.
I think they're the most disciplined team in the playoffs. The only team that I could see beating them right now is Edmonton.
See,
because the reason why I would say Edmonton could beat them is because they can match their speed.
What about the team from Sunrise, Florida?
No comment.
Yo,
I don't know.
No comment. No.
I don't know. It's
comment.
the playoffs. It's
Anything
the playoffs.
could
Anything can happen.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
the only team that I would pick over the Jersey Devils, and I don't think I would as of today, but maybe if it gets to that point, which I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say also something nice in a little bit, would be the Oilers. Why? Because they can match their speed.
I was going to say Edmonton or Toronto because Toronto's had our number all
Don't
season.
even worry about them, bro.
I think Toronto in a 7-game series, though.
The
I don't
Cats
think
might take care of that. So
yeah, I don't
Already
think they can
one
match
quarter
your
of the way
speed.
there.
And you ready for this? I think you should clip this one on the Instagram. If I had to pick today who's going to win the Stanley Cup, it's going to be the New Jersey Devils.
Hey, yo, Daniel he's crying right now. Tears in his eyes.
Are coming.
I can
Listen,
hear Justin Brady
when
listening to this right now.
when we exited our cars before the game last night, before our Breaking the Street game last night, and you guys were ripping on me about the Devils, asking how I felt, and I said I plead the fifth until 3:00 tomorrow. Was it worth it?
It was definitely
Dude,
worth it.
I can hear Justin listening right now, like, Dad, listen, Dad, look what AJ said.
I wish y'all could hear, y'all could see my face and how I'm sitting right now. I'm not very happy. I'm not very happy.
Well, now,
But don't worry though, we're gonna be hating on the Devils. I want to be rooting very, very hard for the Hurricanes.
I know you are. Trust me.
Because I don't want to see this happen. After seeing the aftermath after Game 7, Devils fans partying, singing the Rangers goal song,
That was sick. That was really awesome.
That was embarrassing.
No, if that was
after-
the Penguins doing that to the Rangers, you would be so happy. That would be all over your Instagram.
They
AJ.
wouldn't do that though. It's just
Yes,
a higher standard. It's a higher standard.
Just because you have a higher standard
They
doesn't mean you can't
they
have
don't
fun.
celebrate like they win the Stanley Cup after winning round 1 of the playoffs. That doesn't happen.
Are you not allowed to celebrate after beating your rival?
Of course, but you're not going to go with a dance around with the
Why
arena after
not?
you won the cup.
Why not? Are you the fun police?
Huh?
oh,
I guess so. It's just embarrassing. It's just not a good look for your fans.
Have I told my Akira Schmid story on air? I think I only told on me and Justin's podcast.
okay.
So at training camp, I was there before the season started. I have
you were.
pucks. What do you mean? Of course you were. Of course you were a fan of your hockey team. How dare you?
Oh, here we go.
So I was at training camp. All the rookies were signing autographs. I had one puck left, and I don't like getting pucks signed by multiple players because they're tiny. Nico Dawes and Akira Schmid were at a table, so I had to make a choice. I chose Nico Dawes because at that point he had the better history with the Devils, and I felt bad for Schmid. I didn't want to just blow him off, so I made him sign my keychain because I knew it would wipe off eventually. And right after that happened, I literally said, I was like, watch, like he's just going to take us to a Stanley Cup now, just out of spite. And that was like a total joke. Like he had played like 3 career games with us. He had like an .820 save percentage, if that. And here we are now, and he quite literally just beat the Rangers for our first playoff series win in 11 years. So
No, he beat the Rangers. Akira Schmid beat the Rangers.
yeah.
So now that brings me to this. The New York Rangers Devils Series Awards, Series MVP, Akira Schmid, .951 save percentage, 4 wins. Do we feel this is fitting, of course, I assume?
Akira Schmid's been the best
Yes.
player in the playoffs. Absolutely.
All right, now the Finals Lundqvist Award goes to Igor Shesterkin, slashing at .931.
I feel so bad for Igor.
Yeah, for free Igor, honestly.
All right, free Igor. The Ghost Award, Artemi Panarin, 2 points in the series, no goals.
The visual representation of Panera in this series is if you order a baguette from Panera and you open the bag and it's just air. that was Panera in all
The
series.
Ghost Fork Award,
fitting.
Artemi Panarin. Now the Spotlight Award, Akira Schmid's 32 save shutout Game 7. Best individual performance of the series.
Best performance from a goalie I've seen in a playoff game in quite some time.
All right.
It's unreal how calm he is in these situations. Even in the regular season, there were so many games where either our goalie got pulled or someone got hurt and he had to step in, and every time it felt like he never even let in one goal. Like in the most clutch scenarios, his NHL debut this year against Ottawa, I was there. Vitek got hurt right before the overtime. So Schmid plays the last 8 minutes of the game, locks it down. He made like 14 saves. Then goes to overtime. Senators get a power play. This is this guy's first NHL game of the season after playing in 3 and getting shelled last year. And he made like 4 acrobatic, ridiculous saves. We end up winning the overtime. And since then, he had like all these Rangers fans, like Alex Daly is like, oh, Akira Schmid's a robot. Like they just built him in a lab before the playoffs started. And I get the Rangers fans' argument there. I'd be confused too. But as a Devils fan watching him, this guy had like almost .930 save percentage in the regular season and played almost 30 games.
Yeah.
It's not a fluke. And it's weird too because He had a 905 save percentage in the AHL this season, also in 30 games, which is not very good. That was like bottom half of the league. So it's really weird how a guy is so good in the NHL and so not good in the AHL, but they actually they interviewed him about that the other day, and he said he's like, the structure, the way the Devils play defense, it makes my job so much easier. So it's just interesting because normally you see guys dominate the AHL, but then they come here and don't really do anything. But he's the opposite case. So it's a very unique scenario, but the way he's been able to step into these situations has been phenomenal and really a godsend to this entire team. Because no offense to Vitek, but I don't know if we would have won this series with Vitek in goal. I don't think we would have.
I mean, what was a weakness of the Devils this year? If you pepper Vitek and you could get to him. If you pepper Vitek, you make his life difficult around the neck, around the net. What's it called? You start bumping him a little bit.
He wasn't bad compared to John Gillies and Andrew Hammond.
No,
I mean,
but you could get to him.
That's the tandem of a lifetime right there.
He was a very slightly above average goaltender, which for us was all we needed to take us to the next level. But he's not an Igor Shesterkin where he's going to be stealing games left and right. Like, he'll make the saves he needs to. He won't make much more than that.
The last thing the NHL needed in these playoffs was the Devils to find a franchise goaltender. It was the last thing they needed. And it happened in this series.
Sorry, AJ.
It's not fun.
So last thing here now, the Pat Maroon Award for the Devils. Timo Meier with 0 points in the series.
Okay, I extremely disagree with that. I would have given it to Ryan Graves. I think he was horrible this series. Timo Meier is such a big reason why we won this series. I saw a tweet. Timo Meier had the best playoff performance ever for someone who had 0 points. He completely got under the Rangers' skin. Igor was mad at him the whole time, getting in his head, and not just Igor. He did it to Trocheck. The Trouba hit was clean, by the way. I have no problems with that. But he did such a great job in being physical, setting the tone, and there's not many other people on the Devils who can do that. And the chances he generated also, he just wasn't finishing, and a lot of that goes to Igor Shesterkin. I promise you that if Timo Meier plays the same way, he'll have at least 4 points, maybe more in the Carolina series.
All right, then.
It wouldn't even shock me if Timo leads the Devils in points in the series.
No, me neither.
Nope. Wouldn't shock me.
Y'all, that right there is the wrap-up of the Devils Rangers series. So
Thank
now
God.
they're going on to play Carolina. So we're going to jump straight into that one now. Carolina Hurricanes, New York Islanders. So, Islanders, Canes. I had the Canes in, I believe, 5, but they ended up winning in 6. How did everyone fare with their brackets?
I think I had Carolina in 5, so it was 6. Not that far off, but
Nem had the Isles, definitely, didn't she?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought.
Well, I got every
It
team
wasn't
wrong.
that bad.
Yeah,
It wasn't
I got
that
every
East
series
wrong,
wrong
so
in
he
the
had-
East, so I have the Islanders.
why did you have the Islanders? Can I ask?
The reason why, so this is my logic. Ilya Sorokin entered the playoffs, arguably is the hottest goaltender in the league.
Alex Lyon.
No, I actually will still argue this. With that, Ilya Sorokin should win the Vezina over Linus Ullmark. The reason I think games matter. With that, Linus was playing at a much better Bruins team in a legit 50-50 timeshare.
I can't argue that, honestly.
Ilya Sorokin had to play over 60 games, and if the Islanders didn't have him, they're in the Connor Bedard sweepstakes.
Yeah.
Plus, Carolina was, let's just say, not great on their special teams coming into the series. They entered the playoffs with the worst power play in the league, without their top goal scorer, and their other top goal scorers, Sebastian Aho, Martin Necas, just not enter the playoffs hot. So, there was the Islanders pick. And they were getting Barzal back. It didn't work out, but the process was there.
Can I just say, I think Matt Barzal is extremely overrated.
So do I.
I can't lie. He's pretty fast. He's quick. Aside from that, there's nothing that he does that truly impresses me.
Matt Barzal's a middle sixer.
Yeah. He's just been talked about as this, elite player, and, he really doesn't seem it to me. He's good, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's an above-average NHL player. He should never be in a conversation if you're using the word elite, because I really don't think he is.
I see
mean,
what you're saying.
You know what I think was Matt Barzal is to me? We were just talking about this player. I think his ceiling, what he could do on a great line, would be what a Jonathan Huberdeau did last year. Just rack up a bunch of assists,
Yeah.
set up guys, not score that many goals, and just pile a bunch of points and a lot of secondary assists.
Yeah.
So now on this series, let's get into the awards here. So, series MVP Sebastian Aho, 4 goals, 7 points in the 6 games in 19 minutes of average ice time. How do we feel about this one, guys?
I agree. For the most part, yeah.
Sebastian Aho, the series MVP for the Canes. Now, the finals Lundqvist, again, another goaltender, Ilya Sorokin, slashing a .924 save percentage, trying to keep his team in there, but the offense just can't generate goals.
I mean, the Islanders are the most boring team in the NHL to watch for a reason. they're all defense, no offense.
Speaking of that one, we'll go right into the Ghost Award. Bo Horvat, 1 goal and 2 total points in this series.
It's almost like when he got traded to the Islanders, his finishing was exceptionally high to the point where he was due for regression, extreme regression at that. There's no NHL player in history that's over a period of an 82-game season finished the way Horvat was for the Canucks this season, and we saw exactly that with the Islanders. He came back to earth. He's an okay player. He's nothing great. They give up a lot for him, and he showed in the playoffs why he is really not that great of a player.
And I can even say this: as much as I hate the organization of the Vancouver Canucks and how they do business, their top 6 is better than the Islanders.
Interesting, okay.
Didn't Anthony Beauvillier single-handedly outscore Bo Horvat since they
I
both
believe
got
so,
traded?
It's better. I would say they got
That's
guys like JT
hilarious.
Miller, Brock Besser, Andrei Kuzmenko, Elias Pettersson. Like, it's better than what the Islanders have. I'm sorry, it's true.
Yeah, you're right.
So now the best individual, the Spotlight Award, goes to Freddie Anderson in Game 6. 34 of 35 saves in that Game 6 dominance. .971 save percentage to send his team to the second round. It's his first, I believe, series-clinching win in, like, over a decade.
Not bad for the old fellow.
Yeah, good for him.
And the Pat Maroon Award goes to Kotkaniemi, dropping 1 point in the whole series and no goals.
The thing is, he's more of a defensive player anyway. Like I don't know. I
disagree with that one.
Yeah, me too. He fits the Canes mold pretty well.
Who else do you believe played in a more disappearing way?
I don't know. I didn't pay enough attention.
Maybe there's
to,
no
like,
real answer
each
here.
game in that
Yeah, no,
series.
yeah.
So I guess you go with the guy, but there had to be someone who had no points that whole series.
I see what you're saying.
But I want to go back to the Matt Barzal argument real quick. He has never scored more than 22 goals in a season.
Tough. Literally tough. Verhaeghe scored 42 this year.
Yeah, exactly. Since he got into the league, goal totals 22, 18, 19, 17, 15, and 14. Like, I don't know how this guy is talked about on such a high pedestal. It really blows my mind. He is not that good. Matt Barzal, I'm sorry, I woke up today and chose to just obliterate you. But it really blows my mind. The Islanders truly think they could build around him. I completely disagree. He's not good.
Well, I mean, if that's the best they got a lot to work with. They need some offense for sure. Their defense and goaltending, pretty solid, but not when Freddie Anderson going to save 34 or 35 shots in a game-clinching series.
They don't have a goal scorer. Who on the Islanders do you look at and say, wow, they could score goals consistently?
Yeah, exactly. They need a goal
Not
scorer.
one person.
So that's wrapping that up on that series. So now we're going to get over to the first series that ended in these playoffs. Going out west, the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. I had in this series Vegas in 5, and that's exactly what happened. How did this fare for your guys' brackets?
I mean, it fared obviously well for me. Like, I picked every team with every team in the West, right? This series, not how I ended up and how I imagined it going when I picked it. I thought Winnipeg would put up a little bit more of a fight, but the reason they did it is because physically they just wore down. Just injury after injury after injury after injury in that series. I mean, it's gonna catch up to you, especially when they're not as deep of a team as Vegas. So.
Yeah, Winnipeg won game 1. They just got blitzed. 4 straight losses.
They got blitzed, lost guys like Morrissey, lost guys like Scheifele. Like, happens.
Yeah, but they honestly, their second half was not good.
No.
They started off really, really well and then just crashed. I mean, I think there was like a 20-something game stretch where they lost more games than they won. That's not a recipe for success in the NHL playoffs.
Not a
so.
chance, man.
And also, Connor Hellebuck, your Vezina contending with a goaltender, played like absolute garbage.
Yeah,
in this
I
series.
do want to say
Like-
I will be sad with the Winnipeg whiteout being over now.
Yeah,
I think that's
it's so
arguably
sick.
the coolest thing in playoff hockey.
It is so sick. But when your franchise goaltender plays like garbage,
Yeah.
you're not going to go very far.
If only they had an Akira Schmid.
If only. So, series MVP, Chandler Stevenson, 4 goals, 8 points in the 5 games. That's good production,
He lit it up.
and he did lit it up for sure. Played huge minutes at center, and he's come a long way for this Vegas team.
It's funny. I have a friend I used to work with at ShopRite, and he used to make fun of me always for watching hockey. Then he gets a girlfriend who's a big Vegas Golden Knights fan. Suddenly he starts watching hockey,
Hey,
and like religiously.
this man is being outed
And-
right now. This man
and
is being outed.
There's no way he's listening to this, and even if he was, I could care less.
Of
I'll
course.
send this to him. I don't care. And he literally just got into it like a few weeks ago, and because of how great Chandler Stevenson has been playing, he fell in love with Chandler Stevenson. He just bought a Chandler Stevenson jersey,
Oh
and it's like all he
my
talks
God.
about, like Chandler Stevenson for MVP, and it's just the funniest thing ever because this is a guy that
Doesn't even know.
not many people know.
You'll hit him
knew
with a
of
name. Give him a name 3 players moment. Can he make it through it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Jack
That's a tough
Eichel.
one.
Jack Eichel.
I'll have to try that out. But that's what happens when players have good playoff series. People who aren't big fans of the sport come to know your names. This is the biggest stage. This is where people come to learn. And Chandler Stevenson to some people now is an absolute hero.
Yeah.
So
To
that
Vegas fans, he's everything right now. And moving on to the Finals Lundqvist Award, Blake Wheeler for the Jets. 2 goals and 6 total points in the 5 games. Had a point a game. And I guess no one on Winnipeg really impressed, so it was a very difficult thing. But Puck Empire believes that Blake Wheeler was the best Jet this series.
I mean it's like if someone gives you like a candy bar that's like 3/4 eaten,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, here's the best thing I have to eat.
Yeah.
Like, you'll take it, but it's not
Of course.
it's not anything special.
Now on to the Ghost Award. You guys just mentioned it. Connor Hellebuck, 886 save percentage, 4 L's in a row. What happened, guys?
His
What
team in front of him just depleted, and he
Yeah.
didn't play well. It's two things can be true at the same time,
Mi-
but I don't mean to be short about this. Like, I wish I could give a more detailed response, but it's
That's the gist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Winnipeg should have went with the mother pucker strategy.
Absolutely,
of
bro.
no goalie in the net.
Throw a defenseman right in front of
I
the
mean,
net.
if you want to get 11 goals dropped on you,
So now the Spotlight Award. Jack Eichel's Game 3. 2 goals and an assist in Game 3 on 24 minutes of ice time. Huge win there to put them up in the series. And it's good to see him playing crazy again. It's good to see him back because I haven't heard about him much over these past couple years.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean, it's
definitely
about
flown
time.
under the radar.
it's about time
Yeah.
he comes back on the national spotlight. He's a good player for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Pat Maroon Award, Phil Kessel for dropping 2 assists, and that's it.
The
My
hot dog
guy.
man himself.
My guy, Phil.
11 minutes of
Love
ice
to see
time
that you're
per
playing in
game.
the playoffs.
And only no goals, 2 assists. So he's the most carried player on Vegas, according to Puck Empire. So now, shifting gears, still staying on the west side, though, we're going to go to the Western Conference Toronto Maple Leafs. But they can't even use that joke anymore because Toronto won a playoff series. We'll get to that next. But the Minnesota Wild and the Dallas Stars. Legitimately, Western Conference Leafs. I had Dallas in 7. They won in 6. How about you guys?
I had Dallas in 6, and this series, I'll get into it with like a little bit more once you guys talk about it, but it did not go the way I expected for a reason.
I think I had Minnesota in 7. That was one of my L's I took.
Yeah, I think I had Minnesota in 6.
Hey, the Western Conference Maple Leafs cannot keep the curse going. You know what I'm saying? But this had some great hockey for sure. There were some great games and then some blowout games. So AJ, get into what your point was going to say there.
So, this series completely turned on its head once the game 1 went to double overtime. It went to double overtime. Philip Gustafsson, he was on the ice for 88 minutes, Minnesota felt they won the game. They're up 1-0 in the series. They feel they have to rest them. In game 2, off 1 day of rest. Marc-Andre Fleury plays in the game, gets a touchdown dropped on him. But instead of having your franchise goaltender on the ice,
I love gets a touchdown dropped on him.
I would say with a potential to go up 2-0 back to Minnesota and almost have a stronghold lock on the series. Instead, they allow Dallas to get hot, tie it up 1-1, go to Minnesota, off a win, 1-1 split. They take care of business, come home, win the series.
So now
it happens, and I wrote an article about this on WMSC. You could check it out if you want to. Playoff overtime hockey is great, right? As fans,
it's fantastic.
Nerve-wracking.
It's an unbelievable watch.
Watching Kachuk win a game, watching Verhage win a game,
I can make a real argument, and I did in this article, that 2 of these series were directly impacted from a competitive basis on the fact that they went on about a bunch of these series went to overtime, and the way that the overtime structure is built. It's a 5-on-5, as it should be, by the way. I'm not campaigning for it to change. 5-on-5 regular hockey and everything. But with only 1 day of rest in between, can completely tank your season. And the other series that I mentioned about this, I don't mean to go back to it, was the Boston-Florida series.
Now we can definitely go back to it.
Yeah, we can go back to it. Game 5 goes to overtime. They lose.
Yes, sir.
Instead of benching Linus Ullmark, they stick with him Game 6. Gets another touchdown dropped on him. They almost
won. I'm going to be real. They almost won, but Cats' offense came crazy at the end.
Drop a touchdown on him, and it forced Jim Montgomery to make the decision of all decisions, bench your the winning goaltender.
And then it still didn't work. It
still didn't work, but because they played that overtime game, and then Linus had to play another high octane game back to back. Like, playoff overtime's great, but you can make an argument that it could really, really, from a competitive basis, hurt you.
For sure.
No, I don't know if there is a solution for this, but
I don't think there is. You're right. Yeah.
There isn't, and that's the point I made at the end of the piece. But for Dallas and Minnesota, it completely wrecked Minnesota's season, and it absolutely sucked to see.
So for this series now, the series MVP, the guy who came out of nowhere, Roop Hintz, 5 goals and 7 assists.
Did he come out of nowhere?
Of course not. He didn't come out of nowhere, but 12 points. Second in, I think he had the most points of any player in the first round, and second most in all the playoffs as of right now.
I mean, he was one of the most efficient two-way centers in the league.
Incredible. 5 goals, 7 assists on not even 20 minutes of ice time per game. Just went absolutely bonkers in this series.
Some guys just step up when it's playoff time, not to be that person, but we saw with Andre Palat and Eric Holla for the Devils, they both completely raised their games to a different level. And that's just some guys. They know how to perform in those big moments, and that's clearly what Rupe Hintz did here. So he was a dog that whole series.
It shouldn't come to shot to nobody. Rupe Hintz was one of the most efficient two-way centers in the league this year, but he just took it to a whole new level. Like Daniel said,
new level,
and
man.
it was insane.
2 points a game. Now the Finals Lundqvist Award. It's always goaltenders, man. Philip Gustafsson. 921 save percentage, and he kept this Wild team in games. He really did.
He did.
But ultimately, his offense couldn't perform, and that leads me to my next point. We'll do this all together in one. The Ghost Award. Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov, a goal and no assists in this entire series.
Yeah.
1 total point. So let's talk about, Minnesota not backing up their goaltender, guys. Especially with a guy who's supposed to be one of the most elite players in the league. In Kaprizov.
I just had a meme come up on my Instagram this morning. It was a picture of Kirill Kaprizov, and it was like, what does this man even do?
What does he even do?
And he was invisible. So, he was just entirely invisible. He was bad.
Yeah, I hate to be this guy because Kirill Kaprizov was bad in the series. He's also playing on a line with Matt Zuccarello in his mid-30s on his top line. It's not the most ideal with a person you want to be playing with. And Joel Eriksson Ek, who broke his leg in Game 6 and tried to and played a couple shifts on a broken leg.
Incredible, though. That's a dog.
It is a dog.
Playoff hockey's nuts. Some of the
could
injuries
potentially be dog of the week. But, Kirill, at what point is one of two things going to happen? One, the Minnesota Wild are going to get Kirill Kaprizov a second star to play with, or two, we request a trade out of Minnesota.
Austin Matthews, the Leafs might have saved Austin Matthews with that winning that playoff series.
Yeah.
Because same thing, Kaprizov could be. You look at the teams, and they're kind of like the Western and Eastern Conference respective versions of each other. They're good teams, but they just can't win playoff series and playoff games.
It would be so Toronto if, after since 2004, they finally win a playoff series and then get swept by the Cats right
Please,
after.
bro. Please.
That would just be the most Toronto thing ever.
So now, best individual performance, the Spotlight Award of the series. Rupe Hintz Game 2, a hat trick with an assist. That's incredible numbers. Literally incredible numbers right there. And last but not least, the Pat Maroon Award. Yanni Hakanpää dropping a solid 0 points for the Stars on 21 minutes of average ice time. So now we only got 10 minutes here, so we're going to roll through some more. Next one, let's talk about it from the Western Conference, the Eastern Conference Minnesota Wild. The Toronto Maple Leafs finally won a series. How do we feel it's finally over? The curse is over. They did it.
I mean, it destroyed my bracket, so.
I didn't have them winning either, but I only had the Lightning winning one series, so it didn't hurt so much.
I had them going all the way to the Cup final, but
Rip.
Right now I don't even care about my bracket. I am completely on the Panthers bandwagon. Unless they end up playing the Devils after what they did to the Bruins, I love a good underdog story. Why not the Cats?
Why not the Cats, man? But Toronto, Tampa, they finally. I had Tampa in 7. It's Toronto in 6. What about you? You had Toronto?
Yeah, I had.
Nem and AJ.
I think
know
I
AJ
had
had Tampa.
Toronto
Nem, what did
in
you have?
6.
I had Tampa.
Of course. So now, series MVP Austin Matthews. He dropped 5 goals and 4 assists in this series in only 6 games. And listen, man, that's an MVP. That's the man who has one of the best shots in the league, and he's still incredible. So it doesn't surprise me that much. There's a lot of talent on this team, but the best of the best always come to shine.
The Rangers Stars could have taken a lesson from Austin Matthews this series, for sure.
Finals Lundqvist Award, Corey Perry. It seems like he's just every year in the playoffs just on the losing side of things. Like 2 goals, 5 total points, which honestly to drop 5 points in 6 games and be considered that's the best player on Tampa. Like really, you know what I mean? It wasn't Vasilevsky, it wasn't Hedman, it wasn't Stamkos, it wasn't any of those star guys. It was Corey Perry.
Yeah, I mean, we saw even before the playoffs started, John Cooper was not happy with this team. There was a point where he benched all 3 of them, I think, Stamkos, Kucherov, and someone else. I don't remember.
Yeah, it was
in the third period. They didn't play a shift.
Yeah, and he said that there was not a great effort from them at all. It kind of seemed like they just didn't care. They didn't have the motivation. They looked lost out there, and those are some very, very talented players he's talking about, so I don't know if it's a locker room issue, if it's a coaching issue, but it seemed like as the season went on, there was definitely a disconnect with the Tampa Bay Lightning between their players and coaching staff, and I think that came back to bite them.
Andrei Vasilevsky slashing. He finally had a bad playoffs. It's been so many years of him dominating. It was refreshing to see him only drop an .875 save percentage.
He gets a free pass, though.
I
for
agree.
this playoffs.
I agree. First, come on. Spotlight Award, Austin Matthews, Game 4, 2 goals. Clutch goals.
Completely changed the series.
Puts them up 3-1. Incredible series. I believe they won that game in overtime, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Game 4, he had the overtime winner, I believe. And the Pat Maroon Award, this one was really hard. So we're going to give it to Justin Hall, because think about this one. He had 1 point. He had 1 point for the Leafs. He didn't do a single thing. He had 1 assist, so it's Justin Hall. So moving on now, 2 more series. Kings, Oilers. I think everyone here had Edmonton in 6. I did. You did. She did. I think everyone had Edmonton in this series. It was the most predictable one for everybody. Series MVP, Leon Draisaitl. This man could not stop scoring. He had 7 goals and 11 total points, on fire in those 6 games.
Good for him.
He's a beast.
Finals Lundqvist, Adrian Kempe, because he had 8 points in the 6 games, and he kept the Kings in games for sure. In one of the games, he scored 2 goals. He kept the Kings in games. Ghost Award, Drew Doughty, only dropping 3 points defensively, and obviously, clearly, the Oilers scored a lot, so it wasn't like the Kings' defense was going phenomenally. Spotlight Award, Jack Campbell's 27 of 28 saves, a .964 save percentage in Game 4. And the Pat Maroon Award goes to Vincent Descharnay because, he dropped 2 points on assists. So finally, the last series that ended Seattle, Colorado. How do we feel about this one, guys? The defending champs get taken down by the Kraken.
I'm fine with it. I mean, I hate when teams repeat championships. I like seeing new teams being able to experience that. And Seattle, in their second year of existence, that place was rocking. Climate
And I
Pledge
wanna
Arena
get into
might be a
one
top
thing,
5
yeah.
playoff atmosphere.
So Philip Grubauer, 926 save percentage, doing it against his old
That was
team as
great.
well. How does that? That's got to feel good. That's got to feel good.
For sure.
Yeah, that's feel good.
That's a feel good thing there. The final, Mikko Rantanen, the Finals Lundqvist Award, 7 goals, 10 points. He's a dog, man. He's an underrated part of that team, for real.
For sure.
Because McKinnon and McCarr get all the praise, but let's not act like this man is elite. Ghost Award, JT Compher, 1 goal, 2 points. No. Spotlight Award, Grubauer's Game 7, 34 of 35 saves. He shut down Colorado. He put them to the chip.
He did.
And the Pat Maroon Award, this is the funniest one. Pat Maroon Award, Puck Empire said nobody. Everyone on Seattle played great. He said everyone on Seattle played great. So nobody gets
That's
the Pat
funny.
Maroon Award. So everybody.
Going back to Draisaitl real quick, have
Yeah.
you all ever seen his numbers from his U16 team when
Let's
he was
hear
in
it.
Germany? 97 goals and 95 assists in 29 games. 192 points in 29 games.
Hey, yo. What?
Just that's never been brought up on this show, so I felt like I had to bring that up.
192 points in 29 games?
Yep.
So what do you
That's
score?
sick.
5 points a game? 6 points a game? That's like
yeah,
5.
That almost 7 points a game.
God. So we got 3 minutes left, and we got to talk about it. Come on now.
Yep.
about it.
Let's do it. The most important part of the episode. All right, everyone, mics to your mouths. We're going to hit it at the same time, so let's get it started. Kappa Sig.
What
happened?
happened?
What happened, guys? Tell everyone about the game last night. Breaking the streets, headed to the championship, which is tonight. We're taking down Pike. It's a fact. Gave us the game summary. Give us the game by game. Daniel scored a goal from his own half of the ice. Let's hear about everything.
I'm not. I can have AJ describe that. I don't want to toot my own horn here.
Okay. So, bouncing ball comes down, right? Daniel's just trying to clear it. He's just trying to clear it. Slaps it down with a no screen, no nothing. Goalie sees the ball the entire way, right? I don't even think he meant to put it on net at all. Goalie just doesn't react. Sees the ball the entire way, lets it go through his 5-hole. Goal. It was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. I don't know how that wasn't stopped, but we take those.
See,
We take those.
it really perplexed me. I was just trying to dump it down. It was towards the end of my shift. I was exhausted. I just slap it down, and next thing I know, I just see the back of the net move. And I was like, what? And then we all just went nuts.
Uh-huh.
We actually did have a goal called off before that. So, for
Crease
being in
rule.
the crease, not the first time. So it was 1-1 at that point. Kappa Sig went ahead 2-1. Then Justin Brady with a big goal, tiptoeing around the crease to make sure he doesn't step in it. He was probably 5 inches away. Scored that big goal. Then it was 2-2. Things were getting intense. Kappa Sig scored, and that also got overturned for being in the crease.
Hey.
And then with 3 minutes left, Ellie, huge goal, batting
Ellie
the ball
Slonim.
out of mid-air with 3 minutes left. To seal the
Game-winning
deal.
goal.
And then I just want to say also, what a clinic put on in the final minute. Kappa Sig was pressing. They were heated because they were down for the first time since
And they could
street
barely get the
hockey
ball in
started.
their ozone.
Yeah, and it was
I
Ellie,
heard we got a penalty, and Jackson Frisch and Matt Vitale shut it down.
They had a great kill, and then in the last minute, it was who are the forwards? Ellie, Mike, and
Mike, Richie.
Richie. Kappa Sig was just trying to throw everything on net, and they just kept dumping it down and pinning it in their end, and just literally like Ellie was just taking his foot and keeping the ball there, and they had like 5 guys trying to dig at it. It wasn't working. They got maybe 6 seconds of offensive zone time out of the final minute, and then with 3 seconds left from like mid-court, they backhand one, and it's floating into Nardi, and we all just watch it in like slow motion as he catches it with his chest, and the buzzer sounds. It's over.
Hey.
We mobbed him. It was awesome, but you know it doesn't matter. We got to seal the deal tonight.
as you are listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, breaking the ice, breaking the street. We're taking down Pike. Everybody, I'm going to be there today. I wasn't there. I was calling a baseball game, which weather got pushed
As we
back,
send
so
it
I
off,
couldn't
do
be-
we read the lineup tonight?
Let's do it.
line up tonight. We need to
All
see
right.
it.
Starting at forward, Mike Manning, Ellie Slonim, Richie Lombardi. Second line, Alex Daly, myself, James Graham. Third line, Connor Cupen,
Hey.
Justin Brady, Matteo Macolino, with the extra forward being Campbell Donovan. On defense, starting, Tanner Price, Daniel Amoia. Second D, Jackson Frisch, Mike Vitale, or
Matt
Vitale. Butchered it. My bad, Matt. And starting in goaltender, Nick Nardone.
Nard Kira Schmid.
We're coming for this championship, and 8 o'clock tonight on the Rec Tennis Courts. Everybody, last words. I mean, we've said everything we need to do it. We've said everything we need to do. We're going to do it for the street tonight. We're for the street.
For the street.
We Kappa Sig took a timeout with a minute left, and we all got in a huddle. 1, 2, 3, breaking the street.
1, 2, 3, street.
I wish you were there for that, Connor, but
that.
you were there in spirit.
And hold on. Nem, who's your game pick tonight?
Oh,
Pike or
Is
breaking the
Nem
street?
choosing street or Pike tonight?
Who is she choosing? Is she choosing her friends at Pike, or is she choosing her show that she belongs to?
I belong to is crazy. That's a crazy statement. But
Hey, we all belong to the show. We're all members of the show.
I don't know. We'll see.
Wow.
I don't want to.
Game pick.
Okay.
You can't get off the
This
air
is going
until
on
we
the
have a game
Instagram. I hope
pick.
you know that.
Game
So
pick.
you got your chance to make yourself famous right now.
Fine. I'll have to go with breaking the street. I believe in you guys. I believe in you guys.
Now we can't lose.
We're not losing. Thank
You
you,
got my
everyone.
pick.
This has been Breaking the Ice. We're going to send it back. And stay tuned tonight for the greatest hockey game of all time. We'll see you then.